Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Today is Thursday, September the 18th. We just had FOMC yesterday. We talked about FOMC being a very key major news event in the overall markets. We only cut 25 basis points, which came in as expected. But now you can see the markets are moving higher here on guidance. Most likely, we are going to cut once again, probably into the later months. And as you can see, the overall market's pushing back towards all-time highs, spying Qs. Really QQQ, you can see this is actually good. You can see QQQ at all-time highs. ES now also made a brand new all-time highs as well here in the pre-market. We'll talk about some levels and what we're looking for coming into today. As for Tesla, shaping up fairly nicely for continuation here as well. So we'll talk about some of these tech names that we do have coming into today and all the levels that we're looking for. Before we do that, what's up, everyone? Good morning. Good morning, Jeff, Victor, B. Roots. Good morning, Robert, Monty, Ryan, Joseph, Miss Reggie, Under, Cinna, Jen, Nontali, Felipe, Aaron, Captain, Martin, 50, Willie, Vic, True. Good morning, Wayne, Vate, Nader, Robert, Mozzie, Majid. I am Eileen. What's up, everyone? What's up, Andreas? What's up? Yeah, what's up, everyone? Hope you guys are doing well. First things first, let's pull up. We could actually pull this up. The Forex Factory. We do have some news coming into today. It's not going to be as important, of course. The major news event that we had was yesterday with FOMC, as you can see right here. Now what we have a little bit of unemployment, which is going to be at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll see how that affects the overall markets, but really the next major news event isn't for a while. We just had unemployment. So now with clear guidance for the rest of the month and really coming into next month, Q4, along with the next FOMC. So for the overall indices, let's first talk about ES. I'm going to have to remake a few levels here as well. But let's first talk about the overall indices themselves. Let me actually just get rid of this. So for the ES, the key levels, as you can see here, we're actually back at your all-time highs. So we ended up digging all the way back down into key levels of support, bouncing off key levels of support, reclaiming back above key levels. And now you can see nice push up and towards your all-time highs. So for the ES coming into today, key levels that I'm now going to have marked out. Number one, what we have marked out is our previous day highs, which is all the way back down in towards that 6680s. Next levels that we're going to mark out here as well, we can just mark out this previous all-time highs pivot point back from earlier of this week. So as you can see here, these are the key levels that I'm going to have coming into today. I'm going to have marked out your 6696 here for the ES. Other levels I'm going to have marked out is your 6680 for the overall markets. As I'd like to see, right, higher lows be built, maintain above now your previous all-time highs for continuation towards the upside, right? Whenever we are at all-time highs, it is a little bit more difficult because we are in uncharted territories. You have no levels that you can look for to the left. So we're just going to be looking at, right, the most recent swing high along with other key psych levels, and right, we could use Fibonacci's, other things as well. But key levels for the ES coming into today is going to be your previous all-time highs, and we can mark out some pre-market levels here as well. As for the SPY, key levels that we had coming into yesterday was our 661. This was our Monday's high, along with our Tuesday's highs, and a couple key levels here as well. You can see right off the bat, a couple of rejections off of your key level being that 661, drop towards the downside, but ultimately we end up having a nice bounce coming into close, and then we end up having this nice push in the overnight session. And of course, we had some news with Nvidia, and we also had other things here as well. So for the SPY chart coming into market open, the key levels that we're going to have marked out coming into today now is going to be we can just mark out your previous all-time highs. We can actually just readjust this level, and I'm also going to mark out your previous all-time highs here in the pre-market. But primarily, it's just going to be this level here, which is your 661.50 high from yesterday, high from Tuesday, and then we can also mark out your pre-market levels. We can actually just mark out this, which will be your 662.50. So this is what we have for the SPY coming to market open. What we personally like to see is one of two things. Either they just push above your pre-market highs for continuation right off the bat. Another scenario, pull back all the way down in towards that 662.50, or if price comes all the way back down, it could bounce off of your previous day highs for continuation towards the upside. So that's what we have for the SPY coming into market open. Right after this big push lower, I'm really not interested in any shorts. Right, day one, could we have a push towards the downside back down in towards that previous day highs? You could be looking for a short, but overall markets are at all-time highs. You'd like to see right intraday bearish price action, preferably underneath key levels, if you're going to be looking for a short side towards the down, short position towards the downside. So I personally, right, what we've been doing is just looking for major dips for continuation higher. So that's what we're going to be doing. Let's go on to NQ. So NQ, similar thing. We actually ended up making a nice brand new high here as well. So key levels for the NQ coming into today that we have marked out is our highs that we created here on Tuesday. And then, of course, we had our all-time highs marked out as well. And I can see this nice continued push here in the pre-market. So for the NQ, the levels are fairly clear here. We're just going to mark out our previous all-time highs pivot point, which is our 24,646. And this is going to be the key level that we like to see maintain if you want to see continuation higher. So for the NQ, we end up having a nice push in the after hours. We had some news with Nvidia, some other names as well that are pushing higher. Now for the NQ, what we like to see is to really maintain above your 24,640 for continuation towards the upside. So that's what we have for the NQ coming into today. As long as you can maintain higher lows above this key pivot point, I like to see continuation higher. Other levels that we can have marked out, besides your 24,646, we're gonna have to mark out some pre-market levels. Most likely now it's just gonna be your pre-market high. We could also mark out some other pivot points here as well, but if you can get that retest down in towards that 24,646, awesome. Another scenario, break above your pre-market highs and above for continuation here as well. As for the QQQ, key levels that we have marked out, you can see dig ended up pushing all the way back down in towards our key levels of support, which is the area that it broke out from. 585, nice buyer stepping in off this level, and then you can see ended up closing underneath your all-time highs and also underneath your Tuesdays and Mondays highs. But now you can see in the after hours and in the pre-market, very nice push here on the QQQ. So this one's a little bit more of a cleaner chart that we can be looking at. Key levels that we have marked out, 592 here on the QQQ. Other levels that we can have marked out as well is going to be this pre-market level back from Tuesday being your 594. So for QQQ coming into today, we can have this marked out 592. We can also have marked out your 594. Really for the Qs, two scenarios that I like to see, as I mentioned, either the pullback now all the way back down and towards that 594, continuation back up and towards the upside, consolidation, break above your pre-market high, continuation here as well. So that's what we have for the QQQ coming into today. And of course, also potential another scenario, if it comes all the way back down and towards that previous day highs, you could be looking for the higher low off that 592 for continuation back towards upside. So this is what we have for the overall indices coming into today for the SPY and Qs. We are pushing up nicely here in the pre-market, up about 1% on the QQQ. So right, we're at all-time highs. We just had FOMC. We have clear guidance for the rest of the year. Now you just want to see if all major dips are going to get bought up for continuation towards the continuation towards upside. Sorry. So yeah, that is going to be it for the major indices. Let me go over IWM. This one actually already hit your all-time highs after FOMC, but yeah, nice kind of push higher lows being built, and we end up hitting your all-time highs yesterday. So a nice kind of pop on IWM. We mentioned if you can finally get above your really 240, we can see this push up in towards all-time highs. Now you can see a couple of reactions off this general area. So be cautious, right? We just hit your all-time highs, 242 key pivot level on this ticker. Let's go on to some few tech names that we have coming into today. Number one, Tesla. This one was relatively strong compared to the overall market all day yesterday, right? Qs and SPY dropping towards the downside into key levels of support. Tesla was basically holding your low of day along with your low that we created here on Tuesday. And now you can see, right, nice kind of bounce, double bottom for a push higher. Now we end up gravitating up and towards our weekly highs. Next levels, 433, 440 for continuation higher. As for Tesla coming into today here, key levels, if we kind of zoom in, the levels that I have marked out is going to be your previous day highs along with your 430. So we can kind of mark out this level here. This is going to be very key for Tesla. What I like to see coming to market open personally is one of two scenarios. Right, number one scenario, hold above your previous day highs for continuation towards your 433 and above. That's going to be above your key pivot points. Another another scenario that we can be looking for is the break above your 433 continuation towards the upside. Next levels above are going to be your 440 here on the higher time frames. It's still technically bullish as long as you maintain above your 424. So for Tesla, right, this is still a higher low based off of its previous day's price action. So 424 could come down. I personally like to see it maintain above your previous day highs, which is going to be that 428. So I personally like the first two scenarios, the base above your previous day highs or the break above your pre-market highs for continuation towards your 440. And as I mentioned, of course, this scenario can also be in play as well, which is the dip all the way back down in towards that 424. Either way, this one, I'd like to see it hold now above that 430. All right. The next chart that we have here is Nvidia. This one just had some news in the pre-market with Intel, also with China. Sorry, we just had some news here in the pre-market with Intel. Intel's moving very nicely here. That's also affecting AMD. So for Nvidia, if we look at this one's been kind of showing a little bit of weakness. Honestly, not too much has happened the past few months. If you're looking at this daily chart, this one ended up just coming back down to fill that daily gap that we had. And now we're having this nice kind of push back towards the upside. So key levels that we have for Nvidia really coming into today. Just based off this week's price action, you can see Monday's price action, Tuesdays. If we kind of just draw this out, it's not really that clear. Now we're reclaiming back above key levels. We also filled the gap that we created. So for Nvidia, really coming into today, key levels is going to be your 174.50. We also have your 176 here as well. So for Nvidia, I think it's going to be a little bit trickier to trade just based off of its past few days price action, and it's kind of in between this range. But key levels are going to have 174. If you can maintain above your 174, you can see continuation up and towards your 176. If now we can break above your 176 hold, potential move up and towards your 178. Even for Nvidia, it still could see some downside. If you break back underneath your 174, potentially you could just come back down in towards your previous day highs, which is going to be this 173. So for Nvidia, be open to playing both sides. This one not as clear, but we'll keep an eye out on this ticker just because it had some news. It had some news regarding China a couple days ago, and now had some news with Intel. So this one not as clear, but we'll just keep an eye on this one. As for Apple, this one's shaping up fairly nicely coming into market open here today as well. Key levels that we have marked out is going to be this 241. So as you can see, kind of higher time frame, cup and handle. Now what I like to see is the break above your 241. If you want to see continuation towards the upside. So for Apple, key levels that we have marked out, 238. We also have your 241 here. So I would like to see that bounce off your 238 for continuation towards the upside. or now we like to see really break above your previous day highs is also in play, or now break above your 241 for continuation towards the upside. So either way, Apple on the higher time frames is setting up fairly nicely. If you look at this on the 1 hour chart, once we do get that break above your 241, we should see some nice continuation. Plus, if you look at this daily chart here as well, this one is setting up nicely, right? Higher lows are being built for a potential move up in towards 250. And eventually it's going to be that all-time highs, 260 here on Apple. So that's what we have on this ticker. As for Meta, let me actually just remove some of these ones. Meta, key level that we have marked out is our 766. Nice bounce off this one along with our 780. This one looks like it can push back up and now in towards your all-time highs. Really, it's a 795. Key levels it's going to have to break and hold is going to be above this 780. So above the 780, break, hold, we can see some continuation towards the upside. As for a few other tickers, Google, back at your all-time highs here as well. Key levels that we have marked out is our 248. You can see this key level support ended up holding. Now what we like to see for Google is the hold above your all-time highs, which is your 253. So 253 hold for continuation up in towards your 255 and above. If we don't end up holding your 252, it's going to come all the way back down, most likely towards your previous day close. And then you'd be looking for the reclaim back above that 252 for continuation higher. As for Amazon, Amazon in this case consolidating a lot more. Key levels is your 233 along with this 229. Netflix, not too much to talk about here. Let's talk about AMD. So AMD been staying kind of heavy compared to the overall market. So a lot of these semiconductors have been a lot more right on this push higher, right? You can see Qs back at all-time highs. Nvidia and AMD have been lagging the overall markets. As you can see, SMH at all-time highs here as well. So whenever these markets, right, SMH is the semiconductor ETF. So the semiconductor ETF is at all-time highs, whereas AMD and Nvidia aren't at all-time highs. So this is a clear indication that the markets, at least AMD, is lagging along with Nvidia, right? There's some other semiconductors, right? MU, TSM, those ones are making moves towards all-time highs, whereas Nvidia and AMD have been lagging behind the overall market. So that's usually a good indication. It's been harder to trade, especially Nvidia. I haven't been looking at too many day trading opportunities on this one in the past few months, just because we had a little bit of divergence. Similar with AMD, once it made a new high, this one's kind of been fading off. So for AMD, along with Nvidia, have been affected quite a bit by some news. In this case, we just had some news in the pre-market with Nvidia. So this one's dropping, as you can see here. Key levels that we have is your 262. I also marked out other levels here as well, but 262 is the main level that we marked out yesterday. I was not able to get above this key pivot point, and now you can see continuation all the way back down in towards key levels of support, which is this 150. So as you can see here for AMD, nice push towards the downside. We're also now underneath key levels here as well. So we can mark out this, which is essentially just going to be your low that we created from last week. And we can honestly drag this over down into your previous day lows, 156. So currently AMD bouncing off key levels of support. What you like to see for some more downside, pop and fade off of your previous day lows for continuation lower. If you're somewhat bullish here on AMD, you like to see double bottom hold 150, or now it's going to be the reclaim back above your 155 for continuation back towards the upside. So that's what we have for AMD. I'll be a little bit more cautious on this one, especially if you're trading towards the upside. We are coming back down into key levels of support. So you would like to see kind of buyer step in once again off of this 150 key level here. And then for some other tickers, Microsoft, not too much to talk about on this one, just consolidation. Key levels that we have is your 510. Okay. Yeah, if you guys do have any charts or any tickers you'd like me to go over, you guys can now drop them in the chat. If you guys are enjoying this so far, I appreciate if you guys drop me a like. If you guys haven't joined the daily watch list, that one is in the description below. And of course, if you haven't joined the wait list for the event at the end of the month as well, that one is the first link in the description below. All right. What's up, everyone? Hope you guys are doing well. Yeah, if you guys do have any charts or any tickers you'd like me to go over, you guys can drop them in the chat. We also do have some unemployment here in about 8 minutes. So we'll see how that kind of shapes the overall market. Not expecting it to move that much, but we'll see what happens with unemployment in about 8 minutes. Let's first talk about Intel. This one had news here in the pre-market. So we've been kind of talking about this recently after big pop higher with some news. And now you can see we're basing nicely, kind of flag pattern here on the daily chart. So last kind of 20 to 40 sessions, nice push higher, base, higher lows are being built. We're expecting eventually a push here on Intel, but of course now it had some news. Someone always knows, and now you can see this one, really solid push back higher. So we have this daily gap on Intel. Now we're actually going to have to use the levels all the way back from the left. So key levels in this case for Intel that we're going to have marked out is your 30 key cycle. So we can mark this out. And then we have to mark out other levels here as well. So key levels that we can have marked out is going to be this key pivot high back at 32. We can also mark out other ones, which is just going to be your 3180s. We can also mark out other levels here as well. So these are primarily the levels that we're going to have for Intel coming to market open. 3180s, we have your 30 key cycle level, and then we're going to actually have to mark out other ones here as well. We'll mark out this, which is going to be your 33, and then we can also mark out this all the way back up and towards your 35. So these are the levels I have for Intel. I'm actually just going to get rid of this one, but key levels 3180s along with your 33, and then your 34, 35 towards the upside. So these are the key levels that I have drawn out. What I like to see for Intel after a big push here in the pre-market, it's up about 28%. What you want to see is a dip and rip or some sort of IV flush for continuation towards the upside. So personally, the best case is going to be that first candle. If that first candle drops and that second candle gets bought up, you could be looking for continuation higher. So you could be looking for the dip down and towards that 3180 for push higher. If it has a little bit of a bigger dip, you could be looking for a 5-minute setup, reclaim back above your 3180s for a push. What you don't want to do is if it moves higher, you don't want to be chasing Intel right off the bat just because the IV is going to be fairly juiced up, right? If you're looking at the 33 calls or maybe the 35s, right? If it moves higher within the first candle, be hands off. If the first candle dips, then you could be looking for the dip and rip for a continuation towards the upside. As for Palantir, key level that we have in this case is your 161. So this is the key level here. Key levels that we have marked out. You can see previous level of resistance now turning into support for a nice continuation towards the upside. Key levels for Palantir is your 171. So very key, as you can see, multiple touches. What we'd like to see now here for Palantir, break above your 172 continuation towards the upside. So we've been just going from range low. We're back at your range high here. Key level for Palantir, as I mentioned, break above your 172 actually for continuation towards the upside. If we dip all the way back down in towards that 168, this can also be used for a higher low for continuation back towards the upside here as well. So that's what we have for Palantir coming into today. We can keep an eye out on this one. It's going to be the break above your 72. Let me just add an alert here for continuation higher. As for SoFi, this one I want to see hit all-time highs. Came back down into key levels of support. So this one I've been talking about has been in a very healthy trend. It's not just straight up moving towards the upside. We've been holding key levels of support, resistance turn into support. Next level, all-time highs here on SoFi, which is going to be your 28.24. So I personally like to see that move up and towards your all-time highs either today or coming into the end of week. But key levels I'm going to have marked out. Previous day highs, right? We could be looking for the break above your pre-market highs, along with this key pivot level, which is your 2780s for continuation higher, or we like to see that hold of your previous day highs, push back towards your all-time highs here as well. So SoFi, I want to see that push up in towards your 2820s. As for a few other tickers here, AVGO key levels that I have marked out is your 356. So 356 is key. You can see we have multiple touches here. Now for AVGO, I'd like to see the break above your 357.50s for continuation up and towards your 372.50s. That's really the key levels I'm looking at for AVGO. Higher lows are being built. Now we want to see that reclaim back above that 357 for a pushback towards the upside. As for Oracle, this one, key levels, let me just kind of refine my levels here for Oracle. But what we have in this case, we can just draw this out once more and trade this over. Let me just draw this one. So what we have here for Oracle is your 308. So this is your key pivot point for Oracle. It's going to be your 308. We've had multiple touches around this key level. You can see previous support turn into resistance, multiple touches here, used as resistance once again. So for Oracle, right, key level reclaim back above your 308. We can see some continuation back up in towards your 315 and potentially above. If we end up rejecting off this level, we could see some more downside back down in towards your 292 here on Oracle. So that's what we have. As for Hood, key levels that we have for Hood in this case is your all-time highs. So for Hood, key levels that we have marked out yesterday, we also have your previous high that we created here on Tuesday. And now you can see we're having a nice push here in the pre-market. So you just have marked out your previous high from Tuesday, previous day highs here as well. Now what we like to see for Hood is really maintain above your 118 for a continued push back up and towards your 122, which in this case is your all-time highs. All right, what's up, everyone? Hope you guys are doing well. Let me answer some questions here as I go on to some other charts. Let's see. Apple's setting up. Yes, Apple's setting up nicely here. Hi, first time for the channel. Glad you're here. SPY above 265. Do you also use stock screeners? Sometimes. There's different ways to scan for stocks, but primarily we have a watch list and you're just going to go through those names. You can also look at other sectors here as well. Open. Let's go over Open here. So Open still holding up. For a look at this one, higher lows are still being built. And now you can see we kind of had this downtrend right at key levels of support. Nice push towards the upside. Now your key level of resistance is going to be your 1060, right? Multiple touches here. If you want to see some upside, break above 1060, hold for a continuation towards the highs. So that's what you have. A couple of rejections. Now you like to see the break above your 1060 for a push towards the upside. So that's what we have on this ticker. Let me scroll down here as well. Some of you guys are talking about gold. We'll go over gold here. So gold, the key levels that we have marked out was our all-time highs. And now you can also see we had other levels here as well, which is our 360.76. And then we also have our 3660 here on this ticker. So we end up having FOMC, big kind of spike here on gold. If we look at this on the higher time frames, it's still fairly much bullish, right? You can see higher lows are being built. Now what we like to see on gold is going to be the reclaim. If you can reclaim back above your 36, in this case, what's the level? In this case, it's your 36.76. We can see a push back up and towards your all-time highs. So for gold, key levels coming into this morning, we like to see really the reclaim back above your 36.76 for a push higher. Now it's going to be the hold above your 36.60s for a push back towards upside. Okay. We just had unemployment here as well. Let me actually just grab this. Okay, we just had unemployment here. It came in a little bit lower than expected, not by a lot. 231K, forecasted was 241. I highly doubt this affected the overall markets, but as you can see, yeah, we already had such a big move. So coming into market open, game plan, you can actually see it's making a brand new all-time highs as we speak. So for the QQQ, we're just gonna have to mark out down close candles now. In this case, right, it's your previous all-time highs. We're gonna have to mark out I would just mark out this level here, which is your 15-minute order block. In this case, it's your kind of first down close candle here on the 15-minute time frame. So I'd have this level marked out as an intraday level to see the price action around here on the NQ. You can see NQ finally showing some stronger price action. Hopefully, if this keeps up, now we can see some bunch of these tech names push back towards the upside, since we want to see now tech lead back higher. So that's what we have for the NQ. As for the ES key level, previous all-time highs. So that's what we have, which is your 66.96. As for SPY, similar thing. What we have, previous all-time highs. And then the QQQ, in this case, we do have your previous all-time highs marked out. It is farther away, but we'll still have this level marked out here as well. So that's what we have for the Qs. Let me just kind of run through my game plan once more. Tesla, we like to see a hold of your previous day highs, which in this case is your really this 428. We like to see this level hold for a push towards the upside. Other levels I like for longs coming to market open. Meta above your 782 for continuation. I do like Apple here just based off of the higher time frames. If we can get that base and break, preferably that now break above your 241 for continuation towards upside. As for other tickers that we have, let me go over Google. Google looks good as long as you can maintain above your previous day highs 252. And then for the chips, we'll keep an eye out on the chips here. I'm open to playing chips both ways, just because we have news, some bearish news. Now we had some news as well with Intel. So there's a lot of different news affecting Nvidia here. Key levels, as I mentioned, 176 along with this 174. So we'll keep an eye out on this one. Of course, we'll keep an eye out on AMD since this one affected here in the pre-market. We'll see if this one does want to stay heavy. I would like to see buyers step in. So it's your 150 and then this 155. And then for at least the names on this side, Palantir, one of my favorite tickers for continuation. Now it's going to be above this 172. So far, it looks good for a push towards your all-time highs. AVGO, you need the reclaim back above your 356. Oracle, similar thing here. 306 is going to be key. As for Hood, this one, as long as you can maintain above key levels, we have your 122, which is going to be your all-time highs. And then for some other tickers, MU, this one actually looks textbook break and retest off your previous all-time highs. As you can see here, if you go into the daily chart, we talked about this one yesterday. Previous all-time highs you need to see hold as support. And I can see buyers stepping in right off this 156. So 156 hold. Now you're above your all-time highs. You can expect, right, clear skies above here on MU. So this one you can expect continuation. As for the levels, if it pulled back, right, your key level will be your previous day highs. I don't think this one's going to pull back, but key level here on MU is going to be this 164 now. And you can mark out other levels here as well, but 164 for continuation higher. And then TSM seems like it's affected here in the pre-market, but this one recently just made a new high here as well. Okay, I'll go over a few more tickers here, answer a few more questions, and then I'm going to get ready for market open. Let's see, OKLO. Go over BABA probably here as well. So OKLO, this one is at all-time highs, and now we're continuing to push higher here as well. So going to the 15-minute chart, key levels that we can have drawn out. We can actually just draw this out, right? Previous day highs, also your high that we created here on Tuesday. Multiple touches, right, kind of Wednesday here as well. So for OKLO, nice kind of consolidation the past 2 days, breaking above. We like to see now used as retest above your 96 for continuation towards upside. CRWV, do you think this is going to do anything to AMD in the long term? In my opinion, AMD is so bullish right now. Research, in fact, AMD is bullish in the long term. It's just short term. Everything that we talk about is right short term. It's basically an intraday thesis. We sometimes talk about the daily chart, which is a higher time frame thesis, but majority of the things that we mention could change on a day-to-day basis. We preferably look for max like 1 week out. So it has nothing to do with long term. I'm bullish on AMD long term, at least short term. It's coming right back down into key levels of support, but we should see that bounce off that 150 hopefully on AMD. As for CRWV, right, higher lows are being built here. What we like to see now, break above your 124, continuation towards upside, flat top break forming. This one looks fairly bullish in my opinion. We do have room back up in towards your 132 and potentially above here if you can now get above that 125. So CRWV shaped up fairly nicely. Let me go over BABA. As for BABA, key levels that we talked about yesterday, whenever it does have these, BABA always has these huge like pre-market gaps. So it's a lot more difficult to trade just because they have these huge gaps in the market. It's going to move usually in these overnight sessions. New York session a little bit more choppier, but key level in this case is your 162. So 162 you like to see hold. It's a lot harder to kind of draw levels here as well, but 162 kind of now back down into key level support. I like to personally see it kind of maintain above this, push back up and towards your 164. Okay. Let's see. That is about it. I think I went over most of these tickers. As I mentioned, game plan. Just look for key levels to hold, spying cues. We're just gonna mark, just mark out down close candles, mark out key levels of support for continuation. My top watch still Tesla, Apple. We'll keep an eye out on some of these chips like Nvidia and AMD. A lot of these names are shaping up fairly nicely, so just kind of zone in on a couple like 2 to 3 top watches. Palantir set alerts as well. Palantir above your 172. SoFi, I like this one for all-time highs. And then we have a couple other names that we'll take a look at here as well coming into market open. But yeah, that is going to be it for me today. Hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, I appreciate if you guys drop me a like. If you guys haven't joined the daily watch list, that one's in the description below. And of course, if you guys haven't joined the event that's coming in at the end of the month, you guys can join the waitlist for that one as well. But yeah, that's going to be it for me today. I'm going to get ready for market open here now, and then I will see you guys all tomorrow morning. All right, take care, everyone. Have a great rest of the day. Peace.